Well, what's up, everybody? I have something that I haven't done for a long time. It's not really a Bible review, but a crash test. 4 years, I think. This is not going to be a typical Bible review. For those of you who've been with the channel for quite a while, you know that we kind of got started. Not kind of. We got started in large part due to Bible reviews. I have not done them in a long time, and I don't think. Never say never, but I don't think that I'll ever do them again. Unless you guys want to send me a Bible. I still can get them from the manufacturers, but the short version is I felt more like I was selling Bibles than I was reviewing them for you. And I do want to help you guys get set up with the Bibles that you wanted. That's why I leave them up on the channel, because the information in them is good. But you know, anyway, there's a lot more to that than what I'm saying right now, but I just kind of felt like it was time for the channel to take a turn. That being said, I have some little crash testy. I've been using these Bibles for a while type of videos, and we're going to go through this. I'm not going to flip through this Bible, but we're going to talk about it here, and this is the Cambridge Topaz. So I just thought I'd do a crash test here and let you know what I think. Now, I wrote down, see if I can get that in the shot there, August 10th, right? August 10th, 2020. So this was one of the first, but gosh, is it 2024? So 4 years ago, this was one of the first Bibles that I reviewed. I purchased this Bible on my own, and the short version of this story is the very first Bible I want to say that I reviewed was the Cambridge Wide Margin. Matthew Everhard used to call it the Eagle. That used to be like his Bible. So I picked up a Cambridge Wide Margin and I liked it. I still have that Bible. It does not get used. The words just are a little too small. And we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, I had to pick up a Pit Minion. So I grabbed a Cambridge Pit Minion. It's sitting over here on the shelf. And I used to carry it around with me everywhere. But again, the font size is just kind of too small. So I really liked that. I got into the Bible reviewing game and thought, well, I'm going to have to review some more Bibles, and I liked what this one looked like. I liked the thought of it, and so I picked it up, and I definitely fell in love to an extent. Is this my unicorn? No, it's not, and maybe I'll tell you why that is. But is it close? Yes, it is. So this is the Cambridge Topaz. And the ESV, I don't think that technically it matters what translation it's in. I believe the Topaz is the same. I know they make it in New King James, and they probably make it in a few other translations as well. But like I said, I haven't been keeping up with all the different Bibles lately for the last year or so. So I started using this Bible regularly, well, in 2020. I used it pretty solid for about six or 8 months. Back then, I was doing Bible reviews, so I was switching Bibles all the time. I did have 1 or 2 Bibles that I used regularly that sat on my desk. But this kind of got put on the shelf, so to speak, for about a year or so. So it's not a true crash test. For 4 solid years, I've been ripping through this thing. But then about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, I picked it back up. I went through a church switch. For those of you, again, that have been part of the channel for a while, I switched churches. And the church that I was going to was a NKJV. And the church that I'm a part of now preaches out of the ESV, which is great because I'm really an ESV guy. So I picked this beauty back up and I needed a Bible. I did one of the last Bible reviews I did. My wife saw the Bible and was like, yeah, I think I'm going to take that. And she's my wife. So it was hers. And it was a really nice Bible. And I thought, well, I'll pick this Topaz up and check it out. So here's what I like about the Topaz. You can go back. I'll drop a link down in the description to the original review. There's no reason for me to review all that stuff because nothing's changed. But the highlights for me, and again, it's held up really, really well. This is old school review here. But it's held up really good. This is, of course, goatskin leather, and I got blue because I really like the blue. It's still, you can see it a little bit. It has blue art gilting on the side. And 2 ribbons, but these ribbons are really nice. One of my beefs with Cambridge has always been their ribbons are kind of weak sauce. These ribbons are really nice ribbons. Double-sided satin maybe 10 millimeter. But nice thick ribbons. You know me, I like 3 or 4, but 2 will work just fine, especially if I don't have to change them myself. And there's plenty of room to write in here. Now, here's what I like about this Bible, and here's why I've been using it on a regular basis for the last year and a half, is it's a 10.5 point font. It's what Cambridge calls 10.5. So you write it in large print, which is good. I got glasses in the last couple of months, which is kind of funny because I've always had really, really good vision. But now I have progressives, so I can read and see. Anyway, so I like the 10-point font. It's really important for me to be able to see what I'm reading, because if I don't enjoy it, if it's a lot of work to strain to see, there's much less, whether it's a Bible or not, there's much less chance of me sitting down to do that, right? That's why we try to help you guys find Bibles, those that are still doing Bible reviews. So 10.5 point font, and it's verse by verse. If you're not familiar with verse by verse, I wasn't growing up familiar with it. That was a thing. I thought the only place you saw verse by verse was in the poetic setting. But it turns out that you can get Bibles verse by verse. That means every single verse starts in a new, I don't think I'm going to be able to show it to you on this camera, but again, go check the review out. Every single verse starts on a new line. I really like that. I like when I'm following along with a teacher and with a preacher, the ability to just, or if I'm teaching and preaching myself, that's even more helpful when it's me that's doing the teaching, to follow along verse by verse. And that's really a personal preference. I know half the people that have commented on my videos like paragraph format, where every verse just follows itself. And then half of us like verse by verse. And that's one of the reasons why I like this. Now, this isn't too big of a Bible. This is not a study Bible. It does have cross references in it. I actually wish that it didn't. I know that's a funny thing to say, but I'll explain that here kind of right now. Let me finish the highlights. So it's verse by verse, nice big 10-point font. And the words aren't stuck too close together. Sometimes they try to stick too many words on a line and too many words on a page, and they all end up getting jumbled up. And this Bible is just really easy to read, and I appreciate that. It's the perfect amount of floppy. The floppy factor is good. Here are the things that I would change, and these are really just nitpicky things. I personally, and this is just me, so of course Cambridge wouldn't change this just for me. I personally don't need the cross references. What? You don't use the... I didn't say I don't use the cross references, but in my day-to-day Bible, the Bible that I'd be using, this right now, it's the Bible I've been bringing to church again for the last year and a half, which is usually at least once a week, if not 2 or 3 times a week. It sits on my desk. I refer to it at home. I don't need the cross references, because when I sit down to study, I'm not using the cross references in here. So the caveat to this, and some of you remember, I switched over to Logos Bible software, I don't know, a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I love it. I love Logos Bible software. I'm technically an affiliate. I don't promote it all that often, but there might be a link somewhere on one of my videos. But I love Logos, and I use those resources. So in this Bible, all it does is kind of get in the way. If you only have one Bible and you want cross-references, fantastic. I'm not saying I don't like cross-references. All I'm saying is it would save me some space and allow me a little more space in the margins, or allow the Bible to be cut down just a little bit to be a little bit smaller. Which brings me to point number 2, and I don't even know if this is a real thing or not, so who knows. But I would like it to be thinner. Now, how that's going to happen, I don't know. My unicorn would be a thin line Bible, but also it still has to be verse by verse in like 10-point font. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if it's a reality, because the font might be too big to get it too much thinner than this. This does have a concordance. You could shave off probably about this much of the Bible, at the end, if you got rid of just the concordance and stuff like that. Again, I don't need a concordance in the back of my everyday use Bible, because I use other resources. I have Logos that travels around with me on my phone, on my iPad, on my main computer, everywhere. I have study Bibles that sit in my shelf. None of them back here. You can't see them. They're off camera. But ESV study Bible, so I have all that information in other Bibles that I don't need to carry around with me. Because when I'm sitting, to be honest with you, listening to my pastor preach, Or if I'm in a class, like I'm not going through the study notes, I'm listening to him preach. And then when I get home, I'm going to go through all that information. Does that make sense? So before you all yell at me. I do appreciate to have those resources. I just don't need it in my everyday use Bible for me personally. Now, I'll kind of end this video, this little crash again, by saying, like, if you're looking for it, it's not too big. Some Bibles just get too big and they're heavy. And like I see people carrying around the ESV Study Bible. God bless you, brothers and sisters, because that thing's big. And I just can't see myself carrying that around on a day-to-day basis. But this thing really is a good size for not being a thin line Bible. It's not hard. It's not hard to carry around. It's not too heavy. I did start writing in it. I'm not opposed to writing. I've made plenty of videos that talk about how to write in or what systems you might want to use. I just never wrote in this one for whatever reason. I started, as a matter of fact, it's a good thing I'm sitting at my desk. I started writing in this Bible, and I use a Pigma Micron. The 05, the little ones, the tiny little thin line Pigma Microns, and I use yellow now because yellow stands out really well on this on these papers. And I use a couple of different colors. I do not use black in this particular Bible, just because for me black tends to blend in with the words because the words are black. So I used other colors, and that's been really helpful to pop. I'm also colorblind, and so I struggle sometimes if the colors aren't the exact right colors. So this has been a much longer little crash test review, just a little bit of old school information on a Bible you might be interested in. I'll drop a link down in the description to the Cambridge Topaz, the ESV, and I know you can get them also in the NKJV, so I'll put a link to that one down there too. This really is a great Bible. It is my go-to Bible now. I use it probably most often. It has held up really well with the use of constant, or for sure 1.5 to 2 years of solid, constant use. It did sit on the shelf for probably about a year, but really it almost looks brand new. Now, I don't throw my Bibles around. I don't leave them outside in the rain, so I haven't had those problems. But even the art gilting is holding up relatively well, and it's a great Bible. Now, it is going to run you a couple $100. And maybe we don't have time to go into my philosophy on that, but you're probably watching this video on a phone that costs you upwards of $1,000. So spending $200 on a Bible really shouldn't be too much money. I hope this information has helped you because, again, this channel got its started by kind of reviewing Bibles and trying to set you up with a Bible that would work for you. If you're in the market for something, know that you can get these from Amazon. That's the link I'm going to drop down there is that Amazon link because it'll show up in a couple days. You can take a look, and if you really don't like it, you can send it back. I have a funny video about that too. Go look for it about my funny, crazy Amazon story that I totally forgot about. I have a video from years ago. You can find it, watch it, and then come back and comment and tell me what you think because it's one of the most crazy Amazon stories I've ever heard. And it involves people around the country that I wound up knowing after ordering this Bible. Was it this Bible? No, I think it was an R.L. Allen. I don't remember. But after I ordered a Bible. Anyway, that's a whole lot of gibberish. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this has just been a fun relook at a Bible that I've been using, why I like it, some of the things that I would change. And remember, find a Bible that you like. Find a Bible that you can read and is easy to see and easy to use because you're going to be much more apt to do that if it's a Bible you really like. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. Have a great day.